I think basically market conditions right now. What are you seeing still working in the industry? Where are you focusing right now your efforts on producing volume? We kind of go through the three core pathways of like you can generate deals from your past customers, your referral partners, and then marketing and advertising. So just having a conversation about how those three things are, how you implement those three things in the business.
Right. So you're exactly right. Things have definitely changed in our environment in the last, I guess, 3 months. And you really need to, reevaluate everything. This is a good time. During COVID, they said that was the great reset, that a lot of people and businesses got to take a step back and reevaluate everything. But of course, we were crazy busy. So we were going 90 miles an hour. So now is kind of our great reset. And this is a time where I'm looking over, all of our systems. What can we improve? What have we been just having on autopilot for the last 2 or 3 years? Our touches to the customer, what kind of campaigns need to be updated, and processes. And also, if you have a large team, you need to look and evaluate your staff, make sure that you're properly staffed for the business going forward. Not to say that you just, let half your staff go, but you need to, I guess, normalize your staff to where, the long-term projection is going to be. As far as generating business, it's tougher now. There's just fewer loans. There's too many loan officers out there vying for deals. But you definitely hit on the hot spots. You want to get in touch with your past customer base. You want to try and squeeze as many referrals out of them as possible. And you also, as far as your marketing efforts, like with me, I'm doing more on social media now. I'm a little bit older than you, Chris, so I didn't grow up with a cell phone in my hand and a Facebook account. So, so I've had to learn some things, and it's just, you may have to watch 10 hours of YouTube videos to learn how to properly post an Instagram reel, but now you have that time to do that.
Yep.
So, definitely revitalize and double down the marketing efforts.
Awesome. And Stephen, on your team, where are you seeing the majority of the business coming from right now? Is it still referral based? Is it referrals from realtors? Is it social media? Like, where do you see the majority of the business coming from?
So the majority of my business comes from my past customer base, just because, I've had, almost 4,000 transactions. So there's, a number of people in that database, and we try and touch them during the year. And that's really always been kind of my mainstay of referral business. But we also are relying on our real estate agents. And, now's the time that agents are more responsive. That, I have some agents that send me business that are like, look, just don't bother me. I'm going to send you the business, but I don't have time for coffee or lunch or, vision planning and all that. Just let me do my thing and I'll send you the customer. And you're like, sure, just do your thing. But now they're like, hey, let's get together and talk about where things are going and what are you seeing in your business. So I do find that agents are more open now. And an initiative that I'm going to really try and put my foot on the gas pedal is in doing agent trainings.
Yes.
So I've historically done a lot of loan officer trainings, but now I want to kind of shift and do agent trainings, and I think they're going to be more responsive.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you looking at doing that in person, virtually, webinars? What's your plan for that?
So that's a good question. So the easy thing is just to do a Zoom call, right? But I feel like you don't get that connection that, you might get, 50 agents to join a Zoom call. But I feel like if you had got 10 agents to show up somewhere where you could talk to them face to face, that you're going to make a greater connection. So to answer your question, I'm going to try a little of both and see what the results are.
Very cool. So I've actually got a really interesting story about that. So one of the things that we do, and it's the majority of our business now, is we make phone calls for loan officers. So we will call your past customer database, we'll call realtor referral partners. And we had one of our clients that was just on our software package and using our software to communicate with his database and that sort of thing. And he put up $7,500 to run a realtor networking event. So it was an evening mixer, and he was expecting 150 people at this mixer. So he ran a radio ad, he was running Facebook ads, he was doing all this stuff. He called me 7 days before the event and said, Chris, I'm in trouble. I got 0 people registered for this event. I've already paid for the food, I've paid for the booze, I paid for the band, I paid for the venue, the whole 9 yards. Like I'm $7,500 out, no matter if one person shows up or 150. So what we did was we went to MMI. We got a list of all the qualified real estate agents that were in his local marketplace, and we hit the phones and just, hey, this is a personal invite from XYZ loan officer to you, free dinner, drinks, great mixer. We're going to have some information about what's happening in the marketplace right now and some business growth. Would you like to attend? We registered 227 real estate agents in 5 days.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went over capacity, and they actually had like capacity problems at the event with everybody, with seating and food and all of that kind of stuff. So I think in-person events,
Well, that's pretty amazing.
yeah. And to your point, the agents want to be face to face with you. Like they want to come and see you. They want to learn from you. So I think you're absolutely on the right track with that one.
And although that story is amazing that you were able to get that many agents there, I still think there's value in a small get together.
Yeah.
Even if you have 12 agents show up, where you can have like a discussion, where they can jump in and ask questions, because, it sets you up as being the authority and trustworthy and helpful for their business.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. And that's the difference between a conference and a mastermind. And I think
Right.
there's far more value in a mastermind than there is in that like larger scale conference presentation. And Stephen, I think, for you, you're really well connected in the mortgage and the real estate industry. You've been at this forever. You run a phenomenal business. I think, 7 or 8 top producers in a room, that speaks so much more to you and your brand, because all the top producers are looking around the table and be like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the group. And like, these are all producers. We're not hanging around with the agent that's doing a deal every other month. And I think that bringing that group together, again, puts you in that position of authority where it's like, look at the group he's brought together. We're all brainstorming really good ideas on how to help each other. This is valuable. And that's, at the end of the day, if you can provide value, you're going to get referrals.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. Now, you mentioned past customers, and you have 4,000 past transactions. Congratulations. That is like,
Well,
phenomenal.
I've been doing it. This is my 29th year.
Wow. So, in your past customer marketing, with that generating a good portion of your business, what are you doing on past customer marketing? Do you have a process for that? What does your database marketing look like?
So it's a mixture of automation. We used to use Top of Mind, and we're converting over to Total Expert, but I'm sure it'll have a lot of the same features, touches as far as birthdays and so forth. But then also, so I like to send things that have a lot of shelf life. So what typically I do is I send calendars every year,
Nice.
and I send football schedules when football season comes. I have a schedule that has the 3 local teams here in Atlanta. And it's just, I feel like that a lot of people will stick those on the refrigerator, and they'll have a little bit more shelf life than the average postcard that they just toss in the garbage. And then of course, I monitor rates and so forth and keep in touch with them that way.
That's brilliant. And any phone calls from your team out to the database?
So we subscribe to this service called HomeBot.
Yes.
And you're familiar with it?
Yes, it's fantastic.
So it gives them like all this neat little data and charts on their home and how it's appreciating. And it's interesting The open rate is like incredibly high.
Yeah.
And I think it's like 70% open rate, where your average email, you're lucky if you get 10%
Yeah.
open rate. And then people like ask about the values and how we got them and this and that. And so we follow up with those customers, because a lot of them that are really asking about the value are thinking of buying and selling.
Yeah.
Right. So that can help generate leads. And of course, during the refi boom, that's just another way that they see your name and so forth.
Yep, 100%. And now you also mentioned that you're leaning in on social media. And, obviously that's one of the reasons why I invited you on the podcast, because you've been doing some great stuff. So would you mind sharing with our listeners, what you're doing on social media? Where are you seeing results? How are you approaching it?
Well, so I guess it's kind of a multi-prong attack. And believe me, I am no expert. So, you're welcome to jump in and make suggestions. But so for my loan officer trainings, I do loan officer training for new loan officers. I do Zoom calls and I videotape those. And I've created a library that's called Loan Officer Tip of the Week.
Nice.
And
Okay.
that's a YouTube channel that people can subscribe to. And then I've got, for the consumer, I've got another YouTube channel that's just YouTube shorts called Mortgage Tips and Tricks. And I shoot the videos mainly for Instagram, to do Instagram Reels. That seems to be hot right now. And then I also put them on the YouTube Shorts. And, so that's what I'm trying now, 3 videos a week that are short, 30 to 45 seconds, with something interesting. And, to capture people's attention span is, a challenge. And, what do they say? People like goldfish, they have like 4 seconds and then they're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But so, you try and do interesting little videos, and I've gotten some new subscribers and some, a lot of views and a few comments on those. So, have they turned into mortgage leads? Not yet. I've only been doing that about 2 or 3 weeks, but I feel like it's building, and, the average views are increasing. So, we'll see where that goes.
You just nailed a huge point. And I think this is something that stops most loan officers, like loan officers that try social media and say that doesn't work. It's, you don't fail until you quit. And with social media, every single major influencer that you see out there in the marketplace, take Gary Vee or even The Rock or guys like Grant Cardone, that sort of thing, they've all got that ramp up period where it's like, I'm creating content, I'm not getting engagement, I'm not getting views, I'm figuring out the platforms, I'm posting content, but it's just not reaching anybody. And then there's a tipping point on social media where you hit it, and then it's just like, oh, the algorithms figure out who you're talking to. As long as you're consistent and you're helping people with your content, eventually you get there. I mean, we had very early on in the podcast, I had a gentleman who was generating a 100% of his mortgage deals from Instagram and Facebook. And it was very much like, I just decided I was going to do a video a day, and that was how I was going to grow my mortgage business. And it took me a year and a half. Like, think about that, like 500 videos with almost no engagement. And then, he's one of the top loan officers in the country, generating all of his business consumer direct on social. So not quitting.
I mean, you can't expect to get anything from it for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's bare minimum. And like you said, could take a year and a half. If you were a big company and you hired a big advertising agency for your brand, they would tell you it's going to take 6 months or longer. But, we post a video on YouTube and it's like, I posted it Thursday and I haven't gotten anything yet, and so our expectations are a little crazy, because you get that rapid feedback of seeing, who's viewed and so forth so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Stephen, I'll share one quick little tip. This is something that's done well for us and well for other loan officers that we've shared this with. So many people are looking at content right now from Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, but also TikTok. And I see so many people putting the reps in of doing the daily content or the weekly content, like 3 videos a week. That is incredible production on your part of things. Like, congratulations, that's absolutely amazing. But what a lot of people do is they'll post it on social and then they'll just be like, okay, I got to come up with the next thing. And they're always on this hamster wheel. Where when you look at YouTube, YouTube is a completely different machine because it's a search engine at its core. Social is very much like, so we're getting reports from our Facebook ad reps right now that the engagement window for whether Facebook is going to determine if your post is going to go viral and they're going to show it to more people or not, they're just going to let it die, happens in the first 4 hours of you posting that content. So if in the first 4 hours you don't have likes, comments, and shares driving that out to other people on social media, the algorithm isn't going to pick it up and show it to anybody. And there in social media, it basically dies, right? Unless somebody, sees your content and goes through your previous content. But on YouTube, that video lives forever, right, based on the keywords that you've focused your video around. And so a year from today, a first-time home buyer can go to YouTube and be like, how do I buy my first home? And they're based in the Atlanta market. And Google can pick up your content and show that on the front page of YouTube, and you can get those views consistently. So with social media, you have the ability to get that really big reach in a short period of time. But in YouTube, you get that long tail where it's like you can shoot a video today and you can generate leads from that video for years to come.
Right.
So having that keyword strategy in place when you're creating your content, not just like, what do I want to talk about, but also going in and using, so if you go to Google AdWords, ads.google.com, they've got a keyword planner tool. Just type in mortgage and see where the top search phrases are for what people are searching for mortgages. And that's a great way to create your content for both social and for YouTube.
Right. You have to be thoughtful about it. You can't just post a lot of junk or irrelevant, information. You have to spend some time, look at the trends, look at the people that have been successful. Every idea out there has been stolen from somebody, right?
Yep.
So, so you have to be thoughtful about it and kind of target. The main mistake that I find with social media, and this is with real estate agents and loan officers, is that people are very selfish. Yeah. So they post on social media what I want you to know about. So I've got some terrific new jumbo rates. Okay. So I want you to know about that so that you'll get your jumbo loan from me. So I'm posting something to tell you about my jumbo rates. The problem is you're not interested. Yeah. And in fact, it almost has a slightly negative connotation because you may see me as, off target or off of interest, right? So I've got to figure out what my audience wants and likes. And so, Gary Vee talks about, it's the quantity that leads to quality. And what he means by quality is the posts that get the most engagement, not that the lighting and all that is correct. And the quantity gives you the data. So I can promise you that somebody that posts 100 posts, that their 101st post is going to perform better than the person that posts 3 times and then posts their 4th post, because they just know what their audience likes. So, that old expression, give the people what they want. Yeah. And then after you add value and build some social media capital or credibility, then it's okay. I mean, we're in business. It's okay to ask, to say, hey, listen, if you're looking for coaching, we have a great program. Or if you're looking for a mortgage, please consider us. That's okay. But if it's all me, sell, then people are just going to tune you out.
Yep. No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And that's been a difficult shift for me in my content, in what we're doing, and being more focused on just helpful, usable content on social media without a call to action has been a big shift for us in the last 3 to 6 months. So with social media, and you looking at those pathways to the consumer, is are you using that also for recruitment for loan officers? Like, there's a lot of loan officers in the marketplace right now, branch managers specifically, that are like, okay, this is the time to build the team. This is the time to bring the team together so that when rates come back down, volumes come back up, we're going to be positioned properly with our team growth. So what's your recruiting strategy right now, and does social media fit into that?
Well, it certainly does. So that's why I have those. I have a channel for LO training,
Yeah.
because a lot of times when people make first contact, at first they're like, just stay away, but I just want to ask you this one question. So then you can direct them and say, hey, take a look at my training channel. And then they get an idea of your personality, and hopefully it comes across that you're generous and that you're trying to help your LOs succeed, which I feel that I am. And so that does all the selling. And then the conversation is a little bit easier. Once you've established credibility, then you can kind of talk about some nuts and bolts things about your company and what you do and so forth. But, it's a tricky time to recruit, because you have loan officers that, are coming off of rock star numbers, and they may not be rock stars. And so they have to be, a realist in the fact that, okay, they're a good loan officer, but they're at this level, and that this level was an aberration. It was a great aberration. But you know what I mean? So some of the loan officers are looking for greener pastures when they just need to water their own lawn.
Yes.
So I, believe it or not, the far majority I tell to stay where they are, because, they're like, well, I was closing 5 million a month and now everything's turned to crap. And I'm like, yeah, because a lot of that is the market, and you were doing refinances at 3%. So, if you're not, if there's not some systemic problems with where you are that are making you unhappy, then you just kind of have to reevaluate your own situation.
Yep.
Some loan officers, on the other hand, some loan officers have been in a bad situation, but they were so busy they couldn't afford to switch. And those are the ones we really like to help out, so that they can, get to a platform that they can build off of.
Yeah. And Stephen, that is so valuable. So first off, thank you for being so generous with your time. For loan officers that are out there that are looking for helpful tips on how to grow their business, what is the name of that YouTube channel, and how do people find you? How do you want people to reach out?
So, well, they can reach out. They can, email me. It's SKATZ at vandykmortgage.com, VANDYK mortgage.com. You're welcome to email me. I'm on all the major platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. The YouTube channel for training materials is LO Tip of the Week.
Nice.
And then on Instagram, it's at Katz Mortgage Team. And that has all my little videos, shorts, and things.
That is amazing. Well, again, thank you for the conversation today. Thank you for sharing. That was incredibly valuable. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Chris, and all you do for the loan officer community. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, if you're listening, show that appreciation with a 5-star rating and review on iTunes.
I
that
certainly
really
will.
helps us. Thank you for that. And if you're seeing this on social, hit us with a like and a comment on what your major takeaway was. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next episode.